Broadcasting from Detroit's Cass Corridor, it's The Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. This hour, we're talking about food. For some, Detroit and surrounding areas have the best cuisine in the world, but now will get a chance to be recognized by the Michelin Guide. We'll learn more from Detroit Free Press food writer Lindsay Green. But first, Iron Chef Detroit returns for a third year. It's an annual fundraiser that supports Cass community social services, food, health, housing, and employment programming. It's a cooking competition in which two Detroit chefs race against time to make the better set of dishes. It's the ultimate pressure cooker. The competition is inspired by the famous television show and its spin-offs. The battle takes place in Eastern Market in Shed 5 on June 11th. The challenger this year is John Vermiglio. He's the co-executive chef of Grey Ghost Detroit, Basan, and Second Best. And the defending champion is Andy Holliday, head chef of Selden Standard. John Kung and Carlos Parisi are the hosts this year. Kung is a Chinese-American chef, podcast host, content creator, and author of the book Kung Food, Chinese-American Recipes from a Third Culture Kitchen. This will be his first year hosting the event. And returning as co-host for his third year is Carlos Parisi. He is the owner of Aunt Nee's, a TV and podcast host, and editorial contributor to Our Detroit. They join me now in studio. Carlos, John, welcome to the Metro.
Thank you for having us.
Good to see you. So, Carlos, what are you excited about during your third year on Iron Chef Detroit?
There's just so much that I could be excited about. Fact is, we're getting an opportunity. Here we go.
Here we go. You're
here. I'm here. I'm alive.
Yeah,
you asked me what I'm so excited about. There's so much. Obviously, we're getting an opportunity to see two incredible chefs that are completely out of their element, working with an ingredient that they don't know about, and displaying it for all the world to see in a manner of just minutes. On top of that, you're going to get so many different Detroit and Detroit area restaurants to sample food from. So it's a chance for so many people to come by and try something new, experience a one-time ever type of competition, and just to kind of let their hair down for a second. I mean, you and I both know about letting our hair down.
Let it down. It gets a little warm, but we're letting it down. Now, John, this is your first year. What are you looking forward to the most? Like, what made you get involved?
Well, as soon as Carlos asked me if I wanted to be involved, an opportunity for us to be on the stage and host something together, I jumped at it. We've been friends for a very long time, been in the food scene for a very long time. And then I heard it was going to for the benefit of Cass Community Social Services. And I was like, yes, absolutely. It's such a great organization with such a great celebration of the Detroit food scene with two great chefs. Yeah, count me in.
Count me in. And Carlos, as the veteran, what advice do you have or did you have for John coming into this thing?
You didn't tell me a thing.
I didn't tell him anything. That's the advice. Just have fun with it and wing it. That's really it. John and I have an incredible rapport with each other. We're actual friends. So getting a chance to just do kind of something like this and basically have the whole world peer into a personal conversation between John and I while we're getting a chance to interview judges and peek behind the veil of the kitchen a little bit. But then also, like John said, doing something for a specific organization, Cass Community Social Services, who provides food, housing, jobs, so much to people in need. And I wouldn't think of anybody else when they asked me, hey, who would you want to do this with? John was the first person.
And being in this industry, once again, and I hear often with just being in the food scene, the culinary scene in general, this connection, this community that's building and growing, especially with entrepreneurs and small business owners. Could you talk about, John, how you've been able to integrate yourself and connect with the food scene here in Detroit?
Oh, yeah. I think I did my first pop-up out here maybe in 2008 and 2009. So I think I was like the first Chinese pop-up in the city of Detroit when we were going through that whole like pop-up renaissance. Yeah. So I remember when these chefs, the competing chefs, were like small business owners just starting off with their things. And just being able to come in and like celebrate them and celebrate us and see how far we've come as a community. It was just through like something as big as this. It's just great to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, watching the food scene grow once again in the last 10 to 15 years has been phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to speaking with Lindsey Green next to talk a little bit more about that, just this flourishing food scene that we have right now. Now, Carlos, getting a little personal here. You were born in Mexico City, raised in the city of Detroit. How have those two influences, those two spaces shaped your love for food?
Oh, man. Starting to learn how to cook from my mom and learning those traditional Mexican recipes. I'm also Lebanese and Sicilian, so growing up with that background as well and learning those types of foods as well. It all goes back to garlic, honestly. Garlic and onions, But learning those cuisines early on and then getting a chance, with John back in 2009 to start, flexing a little bit and start doing pop-ups. We were in the same pop-up scene together back in the day and falling in love with food, not because of just my culture and not just because of cooking with my mom, but really falling in love even more so because of the unique place that we were in at the time and the place that we were able to not just look at, but be a part of the development of this beautiful food scene that we have that's based in the layers of beauty and love that this city has always had with its culture. I mean, we're a hardworking city, and that's what it kind of comes down to. Is like, what is a hardworking OG factory guy or whoever's taking care of their kids or whatever it is? What are they cooking? What are they eating? What does that meal look like? And to me, that's the most fascinating thing.
I love when you brought that up. My dad was a factory worker as well, so I just think about the meals he would eat, and honestly, a lot of them were from local, we would say hole in the walls or just place the mom and pops, little places like that. Carlos, you talk about your venture into food with pop-ups and in that early 09, 08 type of time. Talk about when Aunt Nee's came to Bees.
That was in college. I was in a student organization, and the reason why I went to this meeting was because they had free pizza. So so I went in for the free pizza, met this one kid, and his name's Pat Schwager, and him and I became incredibly close friends. And he was telling me about his mom started this hobby of hers. It was a dry mix packet that you mix in with tomatoes. And a couple months later, he goes, "Hey, my dad just lost his job." It was the recession. My mom had just lost her job too. So everybody was losing their jobs left and right in 2009. And he's like, "Do you want to start this thing with me where we actually make a real company happen? Let's give it a go and try to save our house." And I'm very fortunate to say that after that summer, we ended up saving the house. The family kept going and growing from that point on. And as we kept it moving and building, we were part of the pop-up scene. We were part of the Detroit food and Eastern Market scene very early on as well. When Eastern Market had that transition in 2006, I think 2008 and 9 was really when you started to see a little bit more of like something outside of just plants, produce, flowers at Eastern Market. And we were one of the very first to do that. It was like us and McClure's. Getting to be a part of that, getting to be a part of the scene with John and doing events with John very early on, back when, he was just Kung Food, and just listening and learning to what this city was. Even at the time, my dad was the head of advertising for WJZZ Radio. So way back in the day, I would be, as a kid, going to all these different businesses and like meeting with all these different business owners about like the ads that they were going to be running that week, and getting to see Detroit business in the 90s to what Detroit business became in the 2000s, 2000 teens to today. You and I and all of us have seen so many iterations of this beautiful city. And just to know that I'm a part of it in some small way makes me feel just full inside, just very thankful.
I mean, that is just such a Detroit story, having your dad be a part of an institution in radio. When we think about that, oh my gosh. This is the Metro. I'm Tia Graham. We're talking about Iron Chef 3, Iron Chef Detroit 3 at Eastern Market. Our guests is Chef John Kung and Carlos Parisi, both hosts of the evening. Now, John, once again, your education background is, all over the place. You graduated from Eastern Michigan University with a Bachelor of Arts in Theater, Arts Creative Writing, and then you also have a law degree from the University of Detroit Mercy. So thinking about all of that, how do we pivot to food?
And that's on ADHD.
You're so smart.
So smart.
So I had, we were at the height of the recession at that time. So what was an artist to do out of undergrads? Went to law school.
Yeah.
And so I got into U of D and I started studying law at U of D. And during that time, I just needed a creative outlet. So what could I do that wasn't like a waste of time, quote unquote, taking me away from my studies? And so I taught myself how to cook. And then that just like somehow that led to like one person saying like, oh, you should like share this with people. And so I started doing pop-ups in the city alongside studying law. So like old Harlequin Cafe building, like old MoCAD, St. Cece's, all of these places that just like had space for us to try to do things and like try to share the foods that we love. I was teaching myself how to make like Cantonese food because it wasn't something that I could really easily get here.
Yeah.
And that just like grew into pop-ups, into me working for old like restaurants that had started in the city, and then like having my own like little secret space also in Eastern Market. Called Kung Food Market Studio. It was completely unsanctioned and like absolutely like of an era in the city. I think a lot of people know what that means when I say that.
You were a savior by that one? I mean, during that time, on a cold Saturday, walking over from vending all day long to be able to get a nice warm dumpling from you and just sit and hang, just decompress from the day.
And I remember like things being like a part, the market itself is like a small community of its own. It's like a little tiny town inside. So like I would do things like during the winter times, I would bring broth to the vendors, like the vendors that I knew. During Flower Day, I would bring shots of whiskey to all the people that had storefronts that I had to deal with all the people that were out there and be like, happy Flower Day. Let's just do it. But we don't, not now. But just being in that scene. And then, of course, unfortunately, when COVID happened, I had to shut that all down. Yeah. I made the pivot to doing videos and teaching people how to cook online instead. And that just like launched a completely different career for me.
Which is something that interests me as well. Like, when did you know that social media and that platform was going to be successful, or did you just kind of just jump on in front of the camera?
I didn't have a plan. I didn't even the first few months of like doing videos online. I didn't even know that was a career. I didn't know what a YouTuber was. I didn't know what a TikToker was, even though I turned out to be like one of the first big food TikTokers out there. But I guess I would say like I knew that it was going to be a thing for me. When I got my first check.
Show me the money.
Yeah.
I love that though, because you say, hey, I was just doing something as a creative outlet.
It's a career now.
Yep, and it just turned out to be a career. Now, before we jump back to Carlos, does being a chef, cooking and creating new recipes, especially from culturally significant recipes and dishes, does it give you a similar feeling as creative writing?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
So when you're cooking, you're a chef and you're cooking and you're creating new recipes and you're especially culturally significant recipes, does that give you a familiar feeling or a similar feeling as creative writing does?
Oh, it totally does, because it is all storytelling at the end of the day. When you're like cooking a dish, you're kind of like putting yourself, your history and your love into something, but you're also like taking things that you learned, whether it be from yourself or like in such a multicultural age. Cooking borrows and takes from so many different places, and it's so much more interesting to give credit to the places that you learned them from, because like I could say like, oh, I just came up with this, and like, aren't I brilliant and stuff? Wow. But I think the more interesting story is like where you got that from, and like giving deference to the source, because that is a better story than you could ever tell about like yourself.
Now, Carlos.
Hi.
Hello.
I can't follow that. Are you kidding me? The way John is just like looking at you, speaking so matter of fact and beautifully. Also, for the people that are at home, they don't see how gorgeous John is. John is one of the most handsome men that you'll ever see in your life. So I'm over here just, just enamored by the man. And I'm just happy to be your friend.
No, Carlos, we're speaking of being on cameras and being in a production. You have a podcast right now. all about sandwiches.
Yeah, I was doing the podcast for a while. I actually haven't done it in a while, but it's nice to, I jump back into it every once in a while. It's just nice to collaborate and do the fun stuff. So sandwich talk.
When did sandwiches become the superior food for you?
Are they the superior food?
I don't know. You talk about them with so much love. I said, he must just think they're the best.
I think that they're one of the most universally recognized types of food. That's for sure. You know, like every culture has a sandwich. Every culture has a noodle or a dumpling as well. Something like that, right? Yeah. Which it just kind of speaks to the universal way that we kind of can view each other just so simply. If you boil everything down to just food in general is the thing that truly can bring us together. It binds our cultures. It creates community and family and creates conversation. I think that that's the most important part. So it's not necessarily just about me thinking that sandwiches are the best. What happened with me was I just started celebrating getting together with friends, and it happened through sandwiches. So we started 13 years ago with this thing called Sandwich Week. It was the week between Christmas and New Year's. Friends of mine that I worked, so when I finished college, I got a jobby job at the same time that I was doing the Aunt Nee's thing and everything else, the pop-ups and everything else. But at this jobby job, my friends and I were talking about sandwiches year round. Oh, have you had the sandwich at this place? Oh, you got to go to this place. Oh, you should go check out that place. And then because we had to work between Christmas and New Year's and none of our clients did, we were like, let's take a 3-hour lunch. So we ended up calling it Sandwich Week, which is the week between the sandwich between the two holidays where we would just go eat sandwiches. And we started inviting people from outside the company. And then when I finally quit corporate, I kept doing it over and over again, inviting more and more people. So now it's become this big thing that ended up spinning off into the podcast, which spun off into the Detroit Sandwich Party, which is a festival now in its third year at Eastern Market, where last year we saw 7,000 people, 40 vendors, all doing small format sandwiches. It's a free event for everybody to attend. And it's in the same shed as the Iron Chef event, Shed 5 at Eastern Market, which is my home.
Who would have thought? I mean, once again, you don't see these things. You know, you don't have a crystal ball. We can't see the future. But to think a 3-hour lunch turned into a week-long celebration for sandwiches that are now showcasing so many small businesses, large businesses, favorite sandwiches, cultural sandwiches, so many different things. But it's between two pieces of bread. It's that simple, and that's how people are breaking bread with you. It's an amazing thing to think about. Before I get you both out of here.
No, don't. We want to stay. I want to talk to Lindsay. She's great.
That would be. I know. I can't wait to speak with Lindsay as well.
I just want to hear Lindsay talk.
Yeah,
that's all.
too.
But definitely still have you both here. With you, Carlos, you've worked in so many different spaces. You've worked with HBO. You've worked with PBS. You've worked with our Detroit Digest. You know, what have you learned through all those productions, small, big, large, about food and the way it connects everyone?
Man, that's such a big question. I learn every day. Everything that I do, I constantly try to walk in with an open heart and an open mind because I don't know everything and I'll never know everything. I don't know anything, honestly. It's just really nice to walk in and introduce myself as just a student. And that's kind of the way that I try to approach everything. So in terms of food and restaurants and people, I've learned more about our community, more about different kinds of prep, ingredients, the people, the reason why. And the reason why is the most important thing. That's what keeps us going. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to say I also learned how to be very much a part of this city in doing all of that too. And I'm so thankful to know people like you and John and the people that make this city something to have a conversation with outside of this city as well. When I go to New York or Chicago or any other cities that I travel to nowadays, when I say that I'm from Detroit, it's no longer, oh man, that's weird, or oh, 8 Mile. No, it's now, oh, I love Detroit. I have people in Detroit. We visited Detroit. Detroit has an incredible food scene. I heard their sandwiches are really good. All these things that I'm like, don't say it. Really? Thank you. It has nothing to do with me. It's everybody else. Thank you. And that's these kinds of things that make me feel just so thankful for being here during this time and the person that I am and with the people that you all are.
I feel the same way. Carlos. Now, John, last question here, similar to you, you're not originally from Detroit, yet you've rooted yourself here in the city of Detroit through its food scene. What has Detroit meant to you in your culinary journey?
Oh, I owe everything. Everything that I've managed to achieve up to this point, like I owe it to this city. I'm almost 20 years here, and I will say, like, Detroit has allowed me to grow as a cook and a creative individual in a way that, like, I don't think a lot of other cities would have allowed for. It was such a warming community that I just wanted to share, like, a little bit of my culture with. And it was so accepting through all of, like, we make mistakes when we're learning and stuff, but that never really destroyed me early on. And it's such an easy city to celebrate because, like, Detroit culinary also celebrates, like, Michigan farms and Michigan produce. And so just like this greater, like, I guess, farming restaurant community that we have here, it's just really, it nourishes and it nurtures. And I am just a product of that.
Mic drop. Carlos Parisi, owner of Aunt Nee's, TV and podcast host and editorial contributor to Our Detroit. And we have new to the competition this year, John Kung. He is a Chinese-American chef, podcast host, content creator, and author of the book Kung Food, Chinese-American Recipes from a Third Culture Kitchen. The judges this year are award-winning chef Mamba Hamisi and Anthony Lombardo of She-Wolf and Medusa, as well author, director, activist, and Detroit Poet Laureate Jessica Care Moore. Iron Chef 3 is June 11th in Eastern Market, Shed 5. For more information about tickets, head to castcommunity.org/Iron Chef. John, Carlos, thank you so much for joining me on the Metro.
Thank you, too.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, the Michelin Guide is coming to town. Why did it take so long to get a visit, and what can we expect once they arrive? Detroit Free Press dining critic Lindsay Green joins me to break it all down. You all stay right there. We'll be right back. This is The Metro.